I'm very pleased that the last person to speak is Sanne Letschert, the head of the Cultural Emergency Response Group from, well, I'll let Lecce say where, sorry, I won't. I'll let Sanne say where she's from and what the relationship with Prince Klaus is at the moment. So Sanne, thank you very much for waiting, and over to you.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you so much for having us today. First of all, of course, congratulations with the 25th anniversary. We're very proud to have been a partner for a very long time already. And just to introduce myself to the rest, my name is Sanne Letschert. I'm head of the Cultural Emergency Response Program of the Prince Klaus Fund. Still, that is going to change in a bit, which I will share with you in my presentation. Let me first also start by thanking Blue Shield for actually existing, because without them, Cultural Emergency Response would actually not be here at all. Blue Shield International is actually one of the founding partners of our program. And because it was founded in 2003, together with the Prince Klaus Fund for Culture and Development, actually in direct response to the blowing up of the Bamyan Buddhas at the time and the looting of the Iraqi museum. And both organizations really saw a need to establish an organization which would have the implementing and action power to actually protect culture in crisis situations. And at the time, Blue Shield and the Prince Klaus Fund were very logical partners by combining expertise and the networks that were already in place. So as an honor of the 25th anniversary, I kind of dug into our archives, and what the photo material I found is not very impressive, but I was able to find what the first projects were that we supported together. And it's nice to start in that way, because we very much built of what we've done in the past 20 years to be where we are now and where we're heading in the future. So among the first projects we supported was, the very first one was actually the recovery and basic needs of the Central Library of the University of Baghdad in 2003, after it was, there were fires and it was looted during the Iraqi war. We also stabilized the mosques of Al-Husima in Morocco after a big earthquake, and also the citadel of Bam in Iran in 2003. We helped with the stabilization and the prevention of further damage in the direct aftermath of the earthquake. And as I said, that's still very much our focus up until today. So in the past 20 years, we've grown into an organization which is specifically focused on first aid to cultural heritage under threat, both in response to conflict, but also disaster situations. And we always do that in direct collaboration with local communities on the ground. And we provide fast and flexible financial support and expertise if needed, for all those partners to either stabilize, evacuate, document heritage that is acutely under threat. And you're actually finding us at an interesting moment in time and in our existence, because we are becoming an independent organization, independent from the Prince Klaus Fund next year. And we were at the time by Blue Shield and the Prince Klaus Fund established actually to be an independent organization, but for mostly financial reasons, we were then assimilated by the Prince Klaus Fund. And 20 years ago, the field was maybe not yet ready for an independent organization, focusing specifically on the protection of culture in crisis, where, of course, and that's what we have seen also during the presentations of yesterday and today, that this field has grown and matured and professionalized enormously, as has SARE as a program. So we really have grown over the past 20 years, and we've become an expert in the field. We've been able to build strong local networks, but also set up strong international partnerships. And we really see the need to scale up and increase our impact also on the ground, because there is still an increasing need for the work for heritage protection. And I think the sense of urgency for this type of work is something we, at least present in this virtual space, all share. And that's with the cultural emergency response strongly embedded in the belief that culture is a basic need. So through our programming, we're not just merely trying to preserve or protect cultural heritage. No, we're trying to offer a certain continuity to culture after crisis, because we believe that the value of heritage actually goes beyond what the eye can see, what is tangible, but it really affects people, their identities, their sense of belonging. So we really aim to offer cultural continuity to after conflict and disaster. The way we do that is divided in 4 different programs, actually, about which I would like to briefly tell you something about, because what the nice thing is to see that over the years, we've also been really working very closely with the whole Blue Shield movement, actually, from an international level, but mostly with a lot of actors on the ground who are closely involved with either Blue Shield committees, have done trainings, or in any other way related to the Blue Shield movement. And those are actually the people we're trying to strengthen and support as much as we can. So the core of our program is really to provide first aid to culture worldwide, but we also believe that there's a strong need to strengthen the infrastructure that is needed to actually provide that type of support. One of the things that we do is have an elaborate and quite advanced emergency mechanism, which allows us to respond very quickly after disaster. We actively monitor crisis situations, we scout for projects, and we proactively build networks in regions where we do not have that, and really try to upkeep them in disaster or conflict-prone regions. So we actually have the infrastructure in place in case we need to respond quickly. We offer very flexible support, so we think that in that it's important to have the local partners in the lead of determining approach as well as priority. And I want to highlight this example because it's been mentioned already a couple of times, where it's a good example of a collaboration between Blue Shield International, a national committee of Blue Shields, and very strong local partners who've been trained before, as well as, of course, a civil society and a civil protection collaboration, which was the safeguarding of cultural heritage in Beirut after the blast last year. And we were able to work together and support damage assessment and first aid that was conducted by Blue Shields. But we were also successful in coordinating a pooled fund of 6 different international heritage funding agencies to provide rapid relief to independent cultural organizations to provide first aid and prevent further damage to their spaces, collections, exhibition spaces, workshops, etc. Because we see that this is an important part of offering the cultural continuity, where cultural practitioners and heritage sites and heritage experts are all part of the same cultural ecosystem, actually, and help keeping each other up and keeping each other alive. Something else we are really focusing on is strengthening the local capacity. We really aim to work towards a stronger and more inclusive heritage protection sector. So we actively try to shift the power to the global south, to those closer to the heritage, to the crisis and the communities. And we focus those activities specifically in the most vulnerable regions and on heritage sites that are often overlooked. So not necessarily the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, but heritage sites that are of local value and local importance, and that do not often have access to funding possibilities. So as Corey Wagner of the Smithsonian already mentioned, we have some training initiatives that we're developing together to create that capacity. And we're also setting up a network of regional hubs for cultural emergency response, where we really aim to decentralize. This is something new we're trying out. We're piloting this, but we really believe that this could be the future of a heritage protection center, where you have regional hubs, which are go-to experts in disaster or conflict-prone regions, which already have the network, the mechanism, deployable team of experts in place that are allowed to respond quickly if they have the access to financial resources. So we currently have 3 at the moment, but we're looking to have 10 by the end of 2024. This is a picture of a successful hub we already have operating in Guatemala, which director actually is also very closely involved with the National Blue Shield Committee. And they were able to, over the past 2 years, provide first aid in 3 instances. And this was a National Library of El Salvador last year after it was flooded. Which kind of proves the concepts that there's available and ready expertise already on the ground, which can provide very quick support tailored to the needs that are there on the ground, working with material that is available and already has the networks in place for support if needed. Those 2 activities are supported by 2 other elements of our program, which we see are as vital as the others, which is mobilizing networks and sharing knowledge and awareness and advocacy. Being around already for quite a long time in this field, like Blue Shields, you have an opportunity to connect people and to make sure that people do not have to reinvent the wheel in case there is an emergency, and to also contribute to the fact that relationships have to be built before a crisis actually occurs. So we really try to actively mobilize our network of partners, of people we have trained in the past, of experts that are in our network, but also between funders, government agencies, and other heritage experts to together find solutions, to share knowledge and to support each other when that is needed. So we have an online platform where we connect all the people who've ever been trained in the first aid to cultural heritage in times of crisis course, which is like a Facebook for heritage practitioners and heritage protectors, more or less. But we also invest in developing innovative methodologies for cultural heritage protection in crisis situations that are, for example, very relevant in the Philippines because they build with volcanic tuff adobe, or bamboo structures which can be easily used in Pakistan, but for example also in other places where they work with similar materials. So we try to be a broker of connections and filling gaps and building bridges, connecting partners, resources, and expertise. And lastly, we really believe in the power of voices, and we want to be a platform of our partners in the way they work, what they feel is important, but also really to push cultural protection higher on the agenda by actually being louder about our work and the importance of it. So the coming years, we will actively invest in research and data collection in this field that really demonstrates the impact and the importance of heritage protection. So what difference does it make to lose heritage for local communities, but also what the relevance is for adjacent fields like peace building and reconciliation. Because we feel that's important to make tangible and make more visible. So in short, we really want to make the case for the importance of heritage protection by being loud about what we do. So I'd like to conclude with some hopes and beliefs I have for the coming 25 years, and something at least we will work towards. And I hope many of you will join us, because I believe that in the essence of the work that we do, this is related to the core of that. So as I mentioned, we really want to work towards stronger and more inclusive heritage protection sectors. We see that a lot of local communities still do not have a lot of access to funding opportunities, and still do not have access or have the capacity themselves to respond and protect heritage that's actually important to them, independent of external initiatives and drivers. We really want to make that case for the importance of cultural continuity. So why should culture actually be taken into account as something essential in recovery and response after crisis, and not something additional? Why is it relevant for adjacent fields, and why is it unmissable in recovery and could actually contribute to peace building and reconciliation? And lastly, and I know we have a good partner in Blue Shield in this, we really hope we can advocate for a better integration of culture in humanitarian aid initiatives, but also existing relief mechanisms, by being loud what we do, why it is important, and also how we can work together to make that happen. So it's a wish for me for the coming 25 years to be louder and about the importance of the work that we do. And I really truly hope that we can still partner with Blue Shield International and work together towards the goal of protecting culture in crisis. And becoming an independent organization, I think, is a really nice opportunity to rethink what we do, to refocus, and actually strengthen, amplify the work that we all do in this field, and that is so important. So I still think we're logical partners. Congratulations again, and thank you very much for having me here today.
Sanne, thank you very much indeed for that. Yes, absolutely, I concur completely. Logical partners, and we will work on that. So thank you. That's been really interesting and good.